Hey WPF, it's Lucky here with,
No NSR.
and this week we're going to be bringing you guys our 3/4 of the way power rankings for WPF Season 7 Gyarados League. This will probably be our last true power rankings of the season. We'll probably do after week 12, do like a playoff preview type thing for people that are clinched, but at the point of after week 12, at the end of the season, it's, at that point, it's basically just the standings. So,
Yeah. So basically, this week we're just me going over what the playoff picture looks like right now, seeing who's in, who's out, and kind of what people need to do to guarantee their slot. So let's just get it started.
all right, number one, no surprise, we have you with your Wooloo Mooloo Wooloos, only undefeated team. You know, uh,
Pretty happy. Yeah, not gonna lie.
spot
Uh,
spot pretty much locked up. I mean, you've got to win because of tiebreakers and such. You do have to win 2 of the final 3, but you still have a 2-game lead. So it's looking pretty good for you to end up with the number 1 slot in the Brawn conference, and obviously 9-0, you are clinched for playoffs.
yeah, I'm pretty happy with the team. Unfortunately, Shane did not let me make the trades I wanted to make, so I still have that Wigglytuff there at the bottom. So I guess he's coming with me to playoff. So that was fun.
Let's hope it gets a kill in playoffs.
It won't.
All right, only prepping for 10 Mons. Got it. All right, number 2.
We have you. So kind of just with the way that we're doing these power rankings, we're ranking, if you have clinched playoffs, we're ranking you higher. With that being said, you are one of 3 people who's clinched, and you have the tiebreaker over the other guy who has clinched. So
Yes.
we're ranking you as number 2. You did pick up a loss these weeks.
Yep.
Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I picked up a loss to a team that was previously winless, so not the best look and not the best loss on my part, but I am clinched for playoffs. Like Nolan said, I have the tiebreaker over the number 3 team, but in addition to just having the tiebreaker, I also still have a slight chance. It's very slight, but I am in a better position to somehow manage to gain the number 1 seed in Brawn if you take a loss one of the next 2 weeks, and then I end up winning in the last week of the season. We'll have the same combined record, but 2 of your losses will be division losses then, and I'll only have 1 division loss, and so I would have the tiebreaker over you because we will split the season. So
Exactly, yeah.
it's
So
much easier for me to potentially clinch, or not clinch,
then
but get the number 1
get the
seed
number 1, yeah.
than our number 3 slot, who is also clinched for playoffs, and that is the Boston Red Sox.
Again, yeah, very scary team here. And the only reason he's, not number 2 is because you beat him once. But again, yeah, one of our clinched here. Had some good matches. Did pick up another loss. You're welcome. Um, but all in all, it's a very strong record, 7-2, plus 14 differential. He'll be definitely a threat to look out for in playoffs.
Yeah,
And you most likely will be getting him week 1.
yeah,
So
yeah, and
good luck with that.
another reason besides even just the head-to-head, you also have the head-to-head against him, and so for Boston to end up with the number 1 seed somehow, you would have to lose all 3 games, and I would
And he
also
would
have to drop a game. So
yes.
possible.
And he would also have to win all 3, which he did the first divisional round, so he could possibly do it again.
It's possible, highly unlikely, given how things are. So most likely he'll either slot it in the 2 or 3 seed. Really, those 2 don't matter. They play each other.
Yes.
So
Okay.
number 4, we have ASDF and the Sydney Thundurus. Now this team is also 7-2 and has played really well lately. And actually, I almost had him at number 2, except for it was brought to my attention that in his division, there is a possibility that everyone in his division could finish at 7-5, and then he would have the lowest division record and miss playoffs. So while everything is still in his own hands and he's leading their conference for getting the number 1 seed, there is still a slight possibility that he doesn't make playoffs, and since he's not clinched, that's why we have him ranked below the 3 teams that are already clinched for their playoff spot.
Yeah, that division is just so cursed. They could all end up with the same record, and not all of them could make playoffs. That is hilarious to me. However unlikely that may be, there's still a very good chance he's going to be the number 1 seed overall in Brain's division or Brain's conference.
Exactly.
But we can't rank him higher because he still technically hasn't clinched.
Yep. Technicalities are, they don't really matter, but technicalities are a bitch. So
yes.
Moving on to number 5, we have Big L and the Midwest Mawiles.
So he's the leader of his division. So also a very good chance he makes playoffs. Still technically possible that he couldn't. He did also make some trades. I'll go through now. He dropped Volcarona and Meowstic and picked up Necrozma and Lowland Persian. I think that was back week 7.
I think that was in the flurry of trades that came through.
Yeah. Haven't seen him do much work with his pickups.
Overall, I do like them better for the team, though. Necrozma still it's not as fast, but it's still just as much of a setup threat as Volcarona. It can do a lot more, and he already had a fire type in Heatran anyways. Mm-hmm. And then, as fun as Meowstic is, I think Persian is actually even a better support Pokemon. And
definitely.
It doesn't get the priority screens, but
it doesn't need it. It's fast enough anyway, and it gets some great utility moves like Parting Shot, Taunt, and you can run like the Fur Coat or whatever ability, make that thing bulky. So I think it's a really good pickup for him. It really does nice on his team, I think.
Yeah, and he also has the head-to-head tiebreaker against Shane, who is our rank 6, and so he's leader of that. And also, again, he just needs 1 more win in total to clinch a spot in playoffs.
Yeah, especially since he's a division leader. We ranked him a little higher because there's a more likely chance that he'll end up clinching, or just.
And depending on things, can you check who does Atlanta play this week? Because I believe
this week.
Yeah, I believe he could also clinch with an Atlanta loss.
Atlanta plays, Midwest Mawiles. So.
Oh, okay. There we go.
Yeah. So, Midwest could certainly clinch this week.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll have to see. For reference, Shane plays Sydney. So
okay.
that'll be a big match to try to figure out. Both of them in the playoff hunt, so that's gonna be a very important match to watch.
And speaking of Shane, he is our rank 6.
So he's with a 6-3 record. He's still number 2 in his division, which is crazy. That division is so incredibly stacked. He does have, like everyone in that division, that 2-1 divisional record. So really, this divisional play is going to be huge for that entire division. Mm-hmm. Just trying to figure out where everyone lands.
Yeah.
Also, if I'm not mistaken, they all have the same conference record at 5-2, just according to the spreadsheet. So if they all end up tying, that's going to be incredible.
Although I do think similar position to Big L also. I believe Shane can also clinch playoffs with a win this week, because he would then he'd guaranteed, even if that was everyone 7-5 in the division, Sydney would be the one that didn't make it, because he would be at 3-3 division record, and I think Shane would be, even if he'd lose the next, they'd both be 3-3.
Yeah.
So
I
that
think regardless of whoever wins, I think this is going to just be a very important week for both of them.
Mhm.
A win would go a long way for securing playoffs for either of them. So that'll be a great match to watch there. I think it's our match of the week as well. Am I not? Am I right?
I'm not
Or am I
sure.
thinking?
I don't know
Or
if
is he not? He hasn't
I don't
listed
know if
one yet.
he's posted one yet, but
Okay.
if he hasn't posted one yet by the time this goes up, we are hereby qualifying that as the unofficial match of the week
Match of the week.
if it's not
Uh,
put as the official match of the week.
definitely.
All right. Rank 7, we have Pardus and the Vegas Golden Magnemites. They
I have 5-4 record, so dropping a little bit here.
they are currently the 4th spot in playoffs in the Brains division. So if playoffs ended today, they would be in. So they kind of control their own destiny at this point.
They don't have to win out, but I think they need. Well, it's like maybe 2. They have to go 2-1. I think
so.
Okay. Well,
Yes.
and they may be able to go 1-2, depending on what the Alakazam division does.
Mm-hmm.
So their destiny's largely in their own hands, but they can still be bailed out here. They also made some trades. They traded away Spectrier, Metagross, and Swampert, and picked
Is
up.
that how you say that?
That's how I've heard it. And they picked up Toxapex, Mimikyu, and Zygarde 10%. So that Toxapex is gross, and I hate it.
Yeah, we should just put him at 16 just because of that pickup.
Ugh. But other than that, Mimikyu, great mon for him. And Zygarde 10, nice bit of speed there, and 1,000 arrows is such a good move.
Yeah, and Spectrier wasn't really doing much for his
Weirdly,
team.
yeah. I mean, he had a bunch of threats, so I get him maybe picking up a more defensive option. It does make sense for him, but
Metagross wasn't. Yeah, I know for him, Metagross, he wasn't doing much. He said he didn't like it that much, so.
It's not. It doesn't really do as well as people expect it to do.
And what was
That's
his?
just my impression I've got.
What was his third one again?
He dropped Swampert, which
Okay.
I thought, I don't know, I mean, I guess he upgraded to bulky water there.
Yeah.
But he did lose a bit of offense. Not that I guess he needed it.
No, and that was good. It once he picked up Pex, it became a little redundant with Toxapex and Nidoking. So.
Yeah. So all in all, I think good for him trades, bad for everyone who plays him.
Yes. Going on to rank 8, we have Zelda and the Warsaw Rapidash at a record of 3 and 6. Now, the reason for this ranking is because he currently has the tiebreaker in a Bronx Conference for the 4th wild card spot due to his division record being the highest of the 3 teams fighting for that last spot, and all of them kind of have I've beaten each other, beaten one of them, so the head-to-head tiebreaker is kind of useless. So if he wins out, he's in. He could still get in with some losses and some help, but he is currently the last playoff spot
in the Bronze division or conference.
Yes.
Yeah, pretty easy match this week as well. He's playing up against Twitch, so we should likely to get a victory there.
Yeah, such an easy match.
It is an easy match. So we'll see. His record can get better. It'll be difficult. I think that 4th spot is going to be difficult for people to try and claw away from him.
Mm-hmm. That, although how things go, depending, it's kind of interesting that 4th spot could potentially get in with a sub 500 record.
I think it's very likely that 4th spot gets in with a sub 500.
5 and 7 gets in.
We'll see if it might even be a 4 and 8. I am very curious to see how this goes.
All right. Rank number 9, we have Midi and the Collingwood Corviknight. Similar situation to Zelda in that even though they don't have the tiebreaker right now, they do play Zelda, so if they win out, they have the tiebreaker over the 2 teams in our division, and so if they win out, then they would have beaten Warsaw and handed them another loss. So
Yeah, Collingwood really needs to beat Warsaw in order to get into the playoffs. That's going to be his match. He will need to prepare for in order to get into playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's the only way he breaks that tie against him essentially. So, and then plus going off the idea is the better differential, which it might come down to.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see. If it actually comes to differential, I'd be very surprised, but it might happen.
Now, did he make his trades after midseason, or were they
But
on our
he made 'em
midseason
before.
ranking?
That was on
Okay,
our midseason,
so we
yeah.
talked
We
about them
already-
last time.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on to our rank 10, we have Zycofool and the Briones. I really got to learn how to pronounce that name.
Bologna.
Yeah,
Whenever you don't know how to say it, I just say it as fast as you can. Try to get it out of your mouth.
Baloney.
Bologna Briones. So again, another one here, tied 3-6, tied for that, or in the hunt for that fourth spot in the Brawn division. Although I would say his destiny is not in his control.
Yeah, he has to have each of the two teams that we just talked about ahead of him. Each of them has to pick up at least one loss.
And he would have to almost win out in order to get in. So it would be, great to see that. I don't know how likely that is.
Yeah, and seeing as he has to go against two of the top three teams, whereas the other two just have to face the one, it's a little bit of a harder schedule for him as well in the final remaining games.
Yeah, especially since I could completely see Boston taking it easy for these past couple of weeks or these next few weeks. His spot's pretty, safe. So
yeah,
I think the other division, the Machamp division, is going to have an easier time winning out than in our division.
Yes. Did trades happen
Nope.
this week?
Not for him.
That was also last week. Okay.
Yeah, that was also last time. Yeah.
I'm getting so confused on what we actually talked about already or not.
No problem.
All right. Rank 11, we have the Route to Ratata and JK41. Last of the teams currently tied records-wise and really just one game out of the playoff hunt still, even though tiebreakers are a thing. But again, would need some help.
He would, very similar situation. He would almost have to win out, and everyone else would have to lose games on him.
Basically, with these four, whenever they play each other, so when Midi plays Zelda and when JK plays Zycofool, whoever wins those matches kind of knocks the other one out.
Although I believe JK and Zycofool play each other the final week, so by then it may already be wrapped up.
Right.
So I guess we'll see. He did make some trades. He dropped Volcanion, Xurkitree, and Crobat, and went ahead and picked up Kartana, Goodra, and Vanillix.
I definitely think he came ahead on those trades, especially since I know the Kartana and Goodra was a coach's swap for the Volcanion and Xurkitree, so I definitely think he won that trade.
Definitely, yeah.
Vanillux, I have a feeling that that's a potential in-division I play 2 Garchomps pickup.
Yeah, it does have that, access to Ice Shard as well as a base 90 attack, so you can certainly run it physical even though everyone thinks it's a special attacker. So almost certainly I could see him bringing that against both of us.
Yes.
To deal with our Garchomps. Other than that, Kartana's great, great speed tier, monstrous attack, really forming a really nice offensive core with that Lichen Rock Dust there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think he improved his team dramatically with the trades. It might be a little late, but we'll see. It's still very conceivable that he could still potentially make playoffs.
Yes, definitely.
Moving on to rank 12, we have Mario B and the Happy Valley Hariyamas. Now, you can see looking at the record that he actually has a better record than the 4 teams we have above him. However, his road to potentially making playoffs is a bit harder. because even if he wins this week against, who's he playing? Pardus, they'll be tied in record, but he has that 0-3 division record, and so it could be difficult for him, because he could win out and things still not exactly fall his way, I think.
I don't know about that. I think if he wins out, he's in. But he still has to do that just because everyone else in his division would be picking up at least one loss.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, definitely would have to win out. So, it's very scary for him going forward here. No pickups or drops, but I still think this team is scary. I still don't think we've seen it performing as good as it can, just looking at that record.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe this is when he turns it around, going from that 0-3 start to a 3-0 finish.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at it, though, he was 0-3 coming out of division play, and he is 4-2 outside of his division. So both cause, I guess, good cause in that he's been playing the team better and it can win, although cause for concern that his 3 losses were in division, which is the 3 games he has remaining.
Yes. So we say good luck to you. We'll be interested to see how all of his games go going forward.
All right, rank 13, we have the Rochester Raboot. This one is very uphill battle to make playoffs at this point, though still possible. I think a lot of things have to fall their way, but it is still possible for them to make playoffs.
He is technically tied for second in his division with that 3-6 record.
Mm-hmm.
Though, if everything goes to how we think it's going to go based on the previous division, he will not make it into playoffs. I'd imagine how this going is we're going to get the one, division leader from the Alakazam division, and then 3 from the Metagross division, making it to the playoffs. If I had to bet, that's how I think it's going to go. So. Rochester here has a very uphill battle trying to claw his way back in.
Mm-hmm.
He also made some trades, so I'll go over those. So this was kind of weird. He dropped Torkoal for Zygarde 10, and then he ended up dropping Zygarde 10 for Metagross. So really, the net change is he dropped Torkoal for Metagross.
Yeah, which I think is a good trade just based on the fact that, as we said, I think at one point in our mid seasons, why have 2 Sunsetters?
Yeah, unless you're going all in on Sun, which he wasn't. So I think this is much better. Gains a really nice bulky steel, which
he didn't have a steel before. Yeah.
So yeah, great pickup there. I guess you still don't think he's going to make playoffs, but it's technically possible.
Mm-hmm. All right. Number 14, we have the Atlanta Beedrills, who, after a 3-0 start, are currently on a 6-game losing streak.
Yeah, Be Real really does not have the momentum in his favor here, going into divisional play. And this, technically, he does have the better divisional record versus our previous person, the Rochester Raboot. But just based on his losing streak, we had to put him lower just because his momentum's, all the wind is out of his sails.
Yeah, he's been on quite a bit of a drop. So,
speaking of drops, he dropped Kartana, Gudra, and Regieleki, and went ahead and picked up Volcanion, Como, and Xurkitree. So he kind of lost a bit of the weather, I feel like.
Yeah, I think he lost. I think personally he lost the coach trade in getting rid of Gudra and Kartana for Volcanion and Xurkitree. Xurkitree is better than Regieleki, I think, just because it actually has moves other than electric moves. But
like, Como is worse under rain. And, I guess Volcanion's decent, but I still think that Kartana suited his team better. Just have that big offensive threat there. Volcanion kind of is a little slow, in my opinion.
He lost a ton of speed outside of rain now, too.
Yeah. Yeah, getting rid of both those mons. So
And lost some bulk in Gudra too. So.
Well, I mean, Como is bulky on just the other side of the aisle. So I think he did lose the the hydration rain play though. So it is worse outside of rain.
Yep. Moving on to our rank 15, we have Bucks and the Bronx Blastoise, who, believe it or not, is still not out of the playoff running.
I don't. Yeah. Again, that's a very technically he could make playoffs. Although obviously he'd have to win out, and there would have to be so many other things outside of his control to go right.
Let's see. He has to win out. Atlanta and Vegas have to lose out, and then Happy Valley has to lose his other 2 games where he doesn't play Vegas, and Rochester has to lose both of his games besides playing Atlanta.
Yes.
So it's a very, very specific thing that if one of those things doesn't happen this week, then he's out of it. But there's still a slight bit of hope that he can be clinging to.
Technically, the chance, yes. Go along with that, he did make some trades. He dropped Latias, Krookodile, Mega Mawile, and Vanillix, and picked up Salamence, Durant, Mega Slowbro, and Crobat. I don't know about almost any of those trades. I don't think Mega Slowbro is bulky, but you dropped a Mega Mawile for it. Latias, I guess, is more defensive than Salamence, but you're losing so much, like the Healing Wish, and you could run like a Calm Mind. I just don't see Salamence as being better. And then Vanillix, you lost your Aurora, your Veil support, and I don't think you picked up enough to make up for that. Durant is fine, Crobat is fine, but I do not agree with these trades.
I do think, just saying that, I think you have the tiers wrong. I think Crobat's a tier 3, Durant's a tier 4, but besides that, doesn't really matter. They both fed.
Yeah.
So yeah, and rounding it out at our number 16 team, we have Russia's No Retreat, who did pick up their first win of the season against
very good win, very hard fought win.
Unfortunately, however, unfortunately for him, that wasn't enough, and he is our only coach that's completely out of playoff contention, and that's due to the fact that at least one of the 2 teams that has 6 losses, or 3 and 6, at least one of them or 2 of them have to win, and then they will be at 4 and 8, and Russia's No Retreat has lost the head-to-head against both of the people in our division. So
yeah. So I don't know. I guess what went wrong with this team, it remained unchanged from the start of the season to the end. I think once he kind of knew he was on that losing streak, he definitely should have made some changes. He never adapted, I guess. I don't know. What else do you think he could have done different this season?
I mean, I think he could have gotten some hazard removal for sure. I think he could have made a couple changes or looked at it throughout the season, because I think he's pretty much been at the bottom since our post-draft power rankings. So I had a few suggestions that, I mean, obviously you don't have to take everything we say as the truth, but I think a couple changes may have helped him out a little bit.
And he did have a lot of close games in there. Some games that definitely could have gone his way. So maybe just the luck wasn't with him this year.
Yeah, which I guess you could see some of them turned slightly. I know my game against him, the one that he did win, the luck did happen to fall his way that game with a couple low rolls and some key paralysis moments. So maybe in some of his other losses, he was just
on the other side of that.
Yeah, those rolls or hacks went the other way. So yeah. with the competition this season, the line between winning and losing is often a very fine line. So
especially since we moved up to this skill-based one this time. So yeah, I guess that about wraps it up for us.
Yep. Once again, we'll show our final rankings, which we have the Wooloo Woos at 1, Minnesota Lycanrocs at 2, Boston Red Sox at 3, and those are our 3 teams clinched for playoffs. We have Sydney Thundurus at 4, and Midwest Mawwiles at 5. Those teams are extremely likely to make playoffs. Then we have Tennessee Red Gyarados at 6, which is pretty likely to make playoffs. 7, we have Vegas Golden Magnemites, and at 8, we have the Warsaw Rapidash. Those 2 teams control their own destiny for playoffs. At 9, we have the Collingwood Corviknight. 10 is the Bologna Briones, and 11 is the Route to Ratata. Those teams need a little bit of help to make it to playoffs. Rank 12, we have the Happy Valley Harayamas, who needs a little help to get to playoffs, a little bit more than the other teams just by virtue of the conference he's in. 13, we have the Rochester Raboot. 14, we have the Atlanta Beedrills. 15, we have the Bronx Blastoise. And all 3 of those teams need a lot of help to get into playoffs. And then 16, we have Russia's No Retreat, who is eliminated from playoff contention.
So yeah, thanks for listening in. Again, we may do just like a playoff preview in 3 weeks from now. We'll see. And we'll have a much clearer picture, obviously, of what playoffs is going to look like.
Yep. It's nice been having you guys listen to us and hearing our thoughts about the power rankings for the season. We'll maybe see you guys in 3 weeks. Otherwise, we will see you guys next season.
Thanks.